Hi everyone and happy Tuesday. We have our love potion page to do again today. Now before we get going too much, I'm going to do a couple of details. Now we have these ribbon here on our sort of hanging shelf and here holding our spoons. Going to do that. And I decided that we're going to do that in a blue because the flowers and things aren't blue, so it just is a little bit of a different colour. I'm going to use the darkish blue because they're very narrow. I figured that using this one, this is the saxe blue. I don't know what that is supposed to be, the name wise. Oh, I've just broken it, my sharpener. I don't know what's going on. They were all sharpening perfectly well in yesterday's video, and then suddenly I said, oh, none of them are broken, and then suddenly they all started breaking, and it was very annoying. I don't know why. Oh, just knocked my sharpener over. So anyway, there's pencil sharpening everywhere. So I'm going to do this cord / ribbon here that's holding up this spoon. You can see I haven't actually managed to sharpen my pencil very sharp because I've got worried that it's going to break. So we're going to do this bow holding this spoon and the ladle. I don't know how that's staying on. Look, it's only looped over. And then these ones holding the shelf up. Like that. I'm going to do the tufts as well, like that. They'd have some colour. There are beads on that ribbon, but I'm just pretending they're the same colour because it's easier. Right, so that's the very beginning. Now we're going to do these spoons. I will come in closer though. There we go. Now I quite like the idea of doing these spoons in a sort of goldish colour, and we have this mustard, which is a nice goldish tone, and so I'm just going to do them as if they're gold metal. And yeah, let's see, I'm just going to do it like that so it looks like there's a bit of lighter reflection there as if it's gold. If I had more colours and if the picture was a bit bigger, I could do it a little bit better than this. You know, put some browns in and make it look really gold, but I think this is okay. Just make it intense in there so that it looks like it's dipped in. There we go. I'm wondering whether to make this little pot gold as well up here. I think I might do because it's not a see-through pot. And it just adds another touch of gold, so we haven't only got a couple of bits. Sometimes I think if you just got a little bit, I'm leaving that centre bit a bit lighter, in fact with some white, so it looks a bit like it's shiny. There we go. It balances the picture a bit more. Now I'm going to do this bottle. Now, what colour? Well, I was thinking we could do some blues maybe for the bottles, or purples, I'm not sure yet. This one I want to do in blue. I'm looking at what we've got. We've got a very pretty lavender blue here. I think this is it, yeah. So I'm going to use this for the main part of the bottle. So basically the glass is going to be blue glass. So if you can see what I'm doing, I'm going all the way around the edge with quite a dark, well, a layered up line like that, and then I should come in towards the middle, sort of fading, i.e. less layers. The reason I do it from both sides is because I don't know where the middle is. If I just gently bring it across from one side and then the other, it helps me find the middle. There we go. So we've got that. We're just going to continue that down. I'm completely ignoring the patterning on the bottle. Now, I might do something with it in a minute, but at the moment I am just going to ignore it and just just fill in the whole thing. Now this could be supposed to be the inside of the bottle, or it could be a pattern on the outside of the bottle. It's impossible to know which. So I think I am going to leave it as if it's the outside and just do it all that colour. Now our larger bottle we're going to do in a very similar way, but what we have got on our larger bottle is this chain and love heart, which again I'm going to do in this gold colour in the mustard. Okay, so I'm actually going to do the beads in gold, so as if it's more of a chain than beads, and the whole of this apart from the heart in gold. I'm just going to do sort of diagonal line from here and there, and I'm going to leave a little bit that's sort of white so it looks like shine, and just intensify the top and bottom a little bit if I can, to try and make it look like it's got a bit of a shine across it. Now I'm going to use a purpley colour I think for this. I'm just going to have a little look at what we've got actually. Or I could use a peachy colour. Haven't used that yet, have we? Or we could do that for the flowers on the other side. I rather like that sea fog colour. But that would look a bit similar to the tulips. Maybe we use another green. What do we blue even? We use lavender blue. What's that? That's that. Yeah, let's use the smoke blue. It's more of a purpley blue. Whoops. We haven't used it yet, so you can see it as well. It gives you the opportunity to see what the colours look like. So you can see it's more of a grey blue, almost sort of purpley, or I was going to say, yeah, it reminds me of in Castle Arts gold pencils, there's a Venetian blue. It reminds me of that sort of colour. I haven't done that heart. I want it in the pink. Well, ideally I'd like to do it in red, but we don't have a red. But we have plenty of pink, so it'll work fine. So again, I'm going to completely ignore the swirls, lines, stars and things, and just do it like this. So I want to intensely colour this edge. So lots of layers here. Same on this side. Obviously some of it's behind this bottle. And then start to bring it in with less layers. So the aim is that down this centre it's our lightest bit. It isn't always that easy working out quite how much to put down, but just really lighten off towards the middle. You can add more if you need it. It's harder to take it away. I'm now just going back to my edges to intensify them a bit so that we can see the difference, see that fade. It's not really that dark on the edge, is it? And you can see, even though this is a pastel shade, we can build up some intensity, which is nice. Some pastel tones, it's quite difficult to do that. There we go. Now we need to do that heart before I forget. Let's grab this pink that we haven't used yet. Ooh, it jumped right out of the tray. The raspberry rose. What a nice name. There we go. It looks quite similar to that pink. Yeah, it is really. Right, that's that one. Okay, we're sort of just moving along and through, aren't we? So here we have two different types of flowers. These look like anemones. I was thinking about doing a sort of peachy colour. I might use this one. Oh, it doesn't want to come out. This is the peach, and it might be a bit too pale. I'm going to use it for these three, and then see whether I need to add to it, or whether it's going to be intense enough on its own. I think it's fine, actually. There we go. Now these three, I'm going to do the centres in a yellow. We've got this goldfinch, I think it is. Now, as I said, I think these are anemones, but I don't have the right colours for anemones. They should have black and white centres. We don't have any black, so I'm going to do those little circles. I need to sharpen this a bit. That sharpener's got a lead in it. That's better. I've got two sharpeners on my desk, as you do. See, next door I've got about 4 or 5. I've got a Derwent hand crank, a Dowel hand crank, an electric sharpener, and one Norris. I've got an old and a new Norris in here. The old one isn't very good. Right, so these three, I thought we might go for the coral or the vibrant orange. Let's go for the coral. Woo! I pressed the lead end and it just leapt out of the tray. Coral, it's hard for you to see. Sharpen it. There we go. So around here I want it quite intense, but I'm trying not to colour over the top of the yellow, but I do want to try and go right up to the edge. And then for these leaves I'm going to sort of fade towards the tip. Now this is a very unusual colour, these flowers would not be this colour, but I'm just playing around with my new pencils, with my different colours, you know, having a bit of fun. Now this is a colour that's it's really pretty, I really like it, and it's one that I haven't seen in many pencil sets. You don't get this sort of colour in a Polychromos, for example. There's probably something similar in Prismacolors, to be honest. There's the sort of peach. There are different shades of peach. There might be something similar to this. But it reminds me of, I don't know if Instant Whip or Angel Delight used to be the Sainsbury's own brand Instant Whip. They used to do a tangerine, is that right? Is my memory right? I'm sure no, I'm wrong. They did a peach, and I'm sure it was this sort of colour, especially how I used to make it, because with Instant Whip, what it is, for those of you that don't know, probably a lot of you do, is basically it's like a cornflour powder with flavouring in that you add to milk and you whisk it up and it sets, and it's like a mousse, isn't it, sort of thing. And used to have it as kids, and I think this, I'm going to try a different green that we haven't used yet. This is the olive yellow. I'm going to use this for the I need to sharpen it. Yeah, it's gone nice and sharp, so I should use it for these. Yes, and you leave it to set. Now, I always liked it really thick, so I would use less milk than you were supposed to, so that it set thicker. My mum always liked it extra runny, so she would do quite the opposite, and she would use more milk. But she always likes things runny, like custard. She doesn't like thick custard, she likes runny custard. Whereas I like thick custard. There we go. I think that's the right stems, and then we're going to do the ones for here. Again, I'm going to try and use greens. I think there's only one other green I haven't used, and it's this is the Irish green. It's quite a bluish green. I'm going to use it just for this bit, I think, which isn't actually part of this flower. I'm going to use it quite lightly because it's really intense. It's a bit like the Viridie in the pastel tint, I think. Right, I'm going to grab a different green for the rest. Let's use the, whoops, let's use the misty green for these. Anyway, so yes, I remember the peach instant whip. They do still make them, I just don't buy them because they're full of sugar, which I don't eat. But they do, butterscotch used to always be my dad's favourite. So we used to have that one most. I used to prefer the strawberry and raspberry if you could get it. That was nice, but it's rare to find it. I don't know whether they sort of did. This is a summer green. I'm going to use this for this one here. I don't know whether they were seasonal or special edition or whatever. But yeah. And the celedon, which we used before. I'm going to use it for this one. I'm only using it lightly. Now, ooh, it's a big clunk. Now I think I'm going to use my celedon here as well on these two. I'm pretty sure that that was the colour I used over here for these. Now we have all these bottles up here. Now they're really small. I'm going to come in close. So what we're going to do is make them easy. I'm going to grab colours that I haven't used before so that we can play with a few new colours and just do them all quite simply. I think that's probably the best way. I'm going to do the shelf though, and we do have a few brownish colours. We have a beige and we have a sand. I think I'm going to try the beige if I can find it. This is the beige, so I'm going to, beige. So I'm going to do the shelf in a beige first, because I think it might be a wood, but of course you could do it in any colour. It could be painted wood, it doesn't have to be like plain wood. But there we go, there's that shelf. And then all these bottles. As I say, I'm just going to try out some colours that I haven't used. Woo! I'm flicking them all over the place. This is Sea Fog. This is a colour I really like. I'm going to do this for the first one. And what I'm going to do is just do the whole bottle lid, everything in the one colour. And then it just keeps it really simple. Like this. Even the labels. Because they're so small and fiddly. And I don't want you to think this page is a chalk. It's such a pretty page. We can make it simple. Now I can't remember how I coloured it before. My husband's coming downstairs. I'm going to expect him to talk to me any minute. I'm through the door without realising that I'm actually recording even though the door's shut. This is the bright marigold. Really bright colour. I'm going to use this here. It's going to be a bit of a random mix. I mean, it wouldn't happen in my house. I wouldn't randomly mix all my bottle colours up, but I think maybe it looks a little bit more natural to just jump around with different colours rather than having, you know, it's sort of in a rainbow or whatever. Bel Air blue. You can, if you prefer, just do them all the same sorts of colours. You know, do them all blues or do them all pinks or do them all greens, that sort of thing. I wouldn't do them all greens if you're following me so far though, because we've used a lot of green. I'd probably be more tempted to do them all blues. But so I'm trying to make the edges a bit darker and the centre's a bit shiny like that. Now, where should we go next? Those are the greys. Don't really want to use a grey. We could, but I think not really. This colour looks interesting. Oops. That's called Sky Mist. It is actually a blue. I'm going to do it over here because I don't want my two blues together. Just give it a sharpen. Husband's just putting the washing on. He got my message. I sent him a little message asking him to. When I finish this, I'll go down and get a coffee. I'm feeling like I've already got a dry throat. And I'll go and see him. See if he's alright, see how he's feeling. Hoping he's feeling better. This is the Jaune Brilliant Yellow. It's a bit like a Naples, I would say. I got a nice little heart there. If you want to, you could do that heart in a red or a pink if you're sticking with these colours. We've got red, have we? There we go. And then we've got this bottle here. Let's go for a purple. We've got this colour we haven't used, Blue Ice. It looks quite purpley to me. There we go. He's come down on his own as well. That means my other son still isn't up. It's 9:15. Right, we've got a little bit left over here, the top of here. So we're going to use a grey. Oh, splat. This is cool grey. Okay, I just feel like it's sort of a see-through thing, so I'm just putting a bit of grey across there just to create a bit of shadow really. Now, where else are we? Okay, now around these florals we've got these little stars like magic. It's really tempting just to push a bit of colour around there, just to, you know, do a bit of a background. I wasn't going to do a background, but I'm going to come out, just have a little look and a think, because we've got some really pale colours that we could just smush about and see. So what's this colour? The Morning Mist. I'm very tempted. I'm going to have a go. So this is Morning Mist, and I'm just going to put a little bit inside here. That looks really pink where it's actually carrying that pink out. It's not really showing up. It's perhaps a bit too pale. Okay, a dog barking. It's probably a bit too pale, but I'm going to just, I don't want it really dark. That bit I really want to be the other way, but now these sort of dots and stars and things, we could have a go with a pen, and I'm wondering whether to use a bit of silver. Something I was going to show you actually, which I will do, is how to add a little bit of shadow to these with a different colour. Now I'm going to have to get a pencil from a different pencil set. Sorry, just moving everything around. So bear with me, I'm just going to go and grab one and show you. Right, so I have got my dark sepia from my polychroma set. Now you absolutely do not have to do this if you don't like the idea or don't like it. But what you can do with this is add a bit of shadow, which I've wanted to do along the edge of here, for example, under here, and I couldn't do it with the pastel pencils because they just don't have a dark enough colour. And you can see how adding just a little bit from a different pencil set can make a difference. Now you might not think it's worth it, or you might prefer it without, but just wanting to show you what you can do really. You can just put in a sort of darker bit. Just checking I'm recording, getting very paranoid now. I've never checked I was recording and not been recording, thankfully. Now I wanted to try and put a darker bit just around here, and I couldn't do that. I tried it, didn't I? Do you remember? That dog barking. It's next door. I don't know if my neighbour's gone out and left him. But anyway, he'll calm. doesn't usually go out and leave him, to be fair. He usually barks when a train goes by, but luckily the trains don't go by. It's going to do a bit where they overlap. The trains don't go by that often, a couple an hour, something like that. I never notice them normally. I notice them when I'm in bed. There's one about 10:45 is the last one I hear, and I noticed that one. I'm going to do, on this shelf, I'm going to do a few lines in the wood to make it look a bit more woody, and then a bit of shadow around the bottles where they're overlapping. Like that. Now, not too worried about it. Like the spoon, I could do a bit here and inside there. Now on these bottles you could do quite a lot or none at all. So you could do a bit more shadow around the edges like this, just to give it a bit more of a rounded look. You do have to be careful because this is a very intense colour compared with what you've been using. So, but what you can also do on the bottle is to do some work with the patterning that's on there to exaggerate it, to make it look like we've got some layers, and I'll show you that in a minute. But we'll just go round doing a bit more. I'm thinking separating these petals on the tulips, that sort of thing. But yeah, I'll come in a bit closer to show you what to do for the bottle, because I'm just going around the edges of the petals here and here, just around there, and that one around the middle. So yeah, the bottles are the thing that I think we can do most with. And see this one, so we can put some shadow under these sections here, under here, to make it look like this bit is sticking out a bit, and same under these, and even under the circles and things. Under there. It just can give it a slightly more three-dimensional look. Now this one is much more detailed, so I'm not going to do quite as much on it. What is wrong with this sharpener? It's playing up, so it wants to keep taking chunks out of my pencil. Under here and in and around these circles. Now, how long you spend and how much you do depends on how much time you have and how much difference you think it makes. See, I'm going to skip out all those dots and I'm just going to do here and underneath our this pendanty thing. Like that. I'm not going to do any of this, but you could go around this like we did on this one, but it's a bit too much, I think. What else? Anything else? I mean, we could go on to our leaves, look, and do a little bit here where it's meeting our plant, our flower, put a bit of shadow in there. Here, even down the stem, but you don't want to press too hard because it really show up because of the fact that the colours are so pale. I'm also going to put a bit of separation in those petals there. I'm rushing it a little bit, it could be a lot neater. Yeah, I think it just lifts it a little bit, adds a little bit more. I mean, you might not be able to see much of a difference. I know it's there. There we go. And you can do more, you know, like here, a bit here and here, maybe where these are overlapping, where that's coming out of there, that sort of thing. You know, there's lots of things that you can do, but I'm going to leave it there. So there, I could see my pencils there, trying not to look at my messy desk. So have a super Tuesday. Thank you for watching. I hope that was okay, a little bit different. The only thing I haven't done is these little stars and dots. I had considered doing them with a gel pen, but my gel pens are quite thick, even though they're small. Oh, actually, these are thinner. The Moonlight ones are quite thin, so I could use these. But I'm looking at the colours, wondering whether there's one that will work for magic and show up enough and fit in and not be too intense. I think maybe this one. I'll use this one. Let's just do that to finish. This is the number 438, which has got a name that isn't on the pack, I think. I don't know. Anyway, so what I'm going to do is do these dots, so I'm making them bigger. And these, you can just absolutely leave them as Johanna drew them and not go over them at all, but it's just a little something extra to do, isn't it? And makes them stand out just a little bit more, emphasizes the magic. And of course you can add more, you can add some in a different colour. I think I might do that. Not stars, I'm not very good at drawing those, I'm just tracing over Johanna's. I'm okay. Alright, good. So what I'm going to do is use this sort of burgundy pinky colour, this one. This is number 422. See, because this is 0.6, it's a really thin nib, so it's better I think for this. So I'm just intermingling some dots of this amongst what's there. I'm not going to go too far out of the area that Johanna's drawn them in. There we go. There. Oh, it's just a tiny touch. If you don't, you may not have the colours. I mean, you might have other gel pens you can use instead. There's nothing wrong with using a metallic or a glitter pen for that, but I just, the ends, see this is a 0.35mm and a fine one, whereas the jelly rolls were slightly thicker nibs. It doesn't actually say. Sorry, these are jelly rolls. I mean the Stardust and the metallics are a little bit thicker nibs. Glaze pens are this thin, so that might be a useful one as well if that's what you've got. It'll give it a bit of a shine. You can add white on here as well, little white dots. That's something we could do too. On the bleeding hearts I think might look quite nice with a bit of white. Sort of around here where Johanna's actually drawn some black dots, we can put some white ones. Now I've checked with these Brutfuners and white pen doesn't change colour with these. Sometimes on some pinks and purples, even blues can bleed into a white pen and make them go neon pink. But the Brutfuners don't do that. As I say, I've checked on my swatch chart. I checked because it's something that really annoys me. So I didn't want to. I wanted to make sure. You could put some white elsewhere. I don't think it really needs it. I'm definitely going to leave it there. So there we go. So there is the, I'm definitely finishing this time. So have a super Tuesday. Thank you so much for watching and happy colouring.